So, is Versace Dylan Blue one of the best blue fragrances money can buy? I don't know. Let's go ahead and review this now and find out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new, what I do is I make fragrance related content. So if you love fragrances, go ahead and smash the subscribe button down below. But that's right, guys, we're reviewing one of the most popular blue fragrances on the market, and of course I'm talking about Versace Dylan Blue. And we're gonna see if this one's actually good as a blue fragrance and if it stacks up to some of the heaviest hitters when it comes to the blue genre of fragrances, such as Bleu de Chanel, Sauvage, YSL, YEDP, Profumo, Profondo, those kind of fragrances. And if you're not familiar with the blue genre of fragrances, how I would pretty much describe it is a masculine kind of body wash kind of scent. Very, very clean, very heavy on ambroxan most of the time, and sometimes very peppery as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and go over some information about Dylan Blue now. So Dylan Blue was a little bit late to the game when it comes to blue fragrances. It was launched in 2016, so right after Bleu de Chanel and Dior Sauvage. So for the retail of Dylan Blue, this is where it's very nice because it is the cheapest amongst all the other blue fragrances. So that might be why you may be leaning more towards this one. But you can get a 50 ml bottle for $72, or you can get a 100 ml bottle for $92, which I have in hand here is the 100 ml bottle. And these go on discount obviously a lot. Unlike Chanel, which never goes on discount no matter what. Dior Sauvage, you still can get it on discount, but it is more expensive than Dylan Blue. So yeah, pretty much the cheapest amongst all the blue fragrances. Now, the perfumer behind Dylan Blue is actually a master perfumer who has made so many incredible fragrances in the past, and his resume is so good. And of course, I'm talking about Alberto Morillas, who is actually behind the original Acqua di Gio, even all the Acqua di Gio flankers. Yeah, he is a very good nose, and he is behind Dylan Blue. So with all the information out of the way, let's go ahead and go over the packaging and presentation of Versace Dylan Blue now. All right, guys, so all I have is the bottle since I no longer have the box that came with Dylan Blue. But looking at the bottle, it does look very, very nice. You, of course, have the Versace engraved right here on the atomizer. You have the Greek keys all around the top of the cap, which does actually click into place. Even though the cap is not that heavy and it's not magnetic like some of its competitors, like Bleu de Chanel and Sauvage. Of course, you have the Medusa head right there on the front, which looks very, very clean. On the bottom, you do have your sticker with your batch code to authenticate your product and see when your product was actually produced. And like I said, this is the 100 ml bottle, and it is also an eau de toilette concentration. As far as the bottle goes though, it is a lot less quality than Sauvage and Bleu de Chanel, but I think it looks amazing. So that is the bottle presentation. In the top, you have bergamot, grapefruit, water notes, and fig leaf. In the middle notes, you have ambroxan, black pepper, patchouli, violet leaf, and papyrus. And in the base, you have incense, musk, tonka bean, and saffron. Now, when you look at that note breakdown, it definitely looks like a blue fragrance 100% with the grapefruit, the ambroxan, the pink pepper, the aquatic notes. So yeah, definitely a blue type fragrance. Now let's go ahead and spray this, test out the atomizer, and see what I get on initial blast here. Let's remind myself of this fragrance. The atomizer is not the best at all, but can't really complain that much. It's not the worst by any means. Just it does not pressurize like some other fragrances, and it doesn't really spray out that wide either, but it gets the job done. So in the top of Dylan Blue, what I get is very, very citrusy in the top of this, a very kind of juicy bergamot and grapefruit combined together with some aquatic notes, which makes it a little bit ozonic, but it's done very, very nicely. Of course, you find grapefruit in like Bleu de Chanel. This does have some very similar notes to Bleu de Chanel, such as the grapefruit. You have the incense and more of the dry down, which gives it a nice, more masculine kind of smoky touch, which I absolutely love. And that's also found in Profumo as well. So very similar scent DNAs when it comes to all three of those fragrances. It is also a little bit green from that fig leaf, and you also have a nice earthy patchouli, especially on initial blast. I get both of those, which makes it a little bit different than the other blue fragrances is with that greenness to the fragrance. But it is also very, very peppery from that black pepper, kind of similar to Dior Sauvage with the ambroxan and the black pepper. To me, guys, how I would pretty much explain this, it's kind of a mix of Bleu de Chanel with the grapefruit, the incense, and then a mixture with Bleu de Chanel and Dior Sauvage EDT with the ambroxan pink pepper. So yeah, it's like a mixture of those two pretty much combined together. And it's done very, very well. Now, as it dried down, I do get some of that incense, but it's not as heavy on incense as it would be in Bleu de Chanel and Perfumer. I get a lot more incense in both of those fragrances. This one, it's a little bit more subtle and a little bit toned down, but I still get it a little bit. Just an extremely crowd pleasing. Everyone would love this fragrance. I can't see this fragrance getting any hate from either guys or women. This stuff is just so inoffensive and just everyone loves it. I've got so many compliments with this fragrance. It is one of the most complimented blue fragrances in my collection. People just absolutely love Dylan Blue. And honestly guys, I haven't had this bottle in my collection that long either. I was kind of late to the game as well with Dylan Blue and the hype behind this fragrance, but man, I am so glad to actually get a bottle of this in my collection because this one actually pretty much surprised me a lot compared to the other blue fragrances. Now, I would say Bleu de Chanel would probably still be my favorite. If you're thinking about Bleu de Chanel, that one's actually, in my opinion, much more natural smelling and just kind of put together a little bit better than Dylan Blue. It does smell a little bit more luxurious, but I actually do prefer Dylan Blue over the original Dior Sauvage. And for the price you can get this fragrance for, guys, I think this should be in every guy's collection. Just for a nice clean shower gel kind of fragrance that can be worn pretty much all year round in the fall, the winter, the spring, the summer, and all occasions. This is a very masculine, clean, citrusy, peppery, a little bit smoky, earthy fragrance. And yeah, everyone loves Dylan Blue from my experience. Yeah, you do get a ton of that ambroxan, especially as it dries down. It lasts pretty much the entire life of the fragrance. It's not as much of an ambroxan bomb like Dior Sauvage. That is pretty much just ambroxan in your face. This one is there, obviously, but it's not as strong as the Dior Sauvage ambroxan you get in that. As far as like the violet leaf, I don't really get much violet leaf in this fragrance, which is a good thing for me. I'm not a fan of violet leaf that much at all. Sometimes it can come across smelling like gasoline, and yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of that note. Now, there is saffron and papyrus in here, which I don't really get either of those notes either. I do get the fig leaf. I do get a nice clean white musk in the base, like very, very dry down in this fragrance. And I do obviously get the patchouli and the black pepper, which gives a nice earthy and spiciness to this fragrance as well. All in all, I would pretty much say this is just a very citrusy, clean, aquatic, slightly smoky and peppery fragrance. That's the best way to describe this kind of genre of fragrance here. Now let's touch on performance. Now, performance is where Dylan Blue absolutely shines, guys. This is definitely above average in my testing. I easily get around 10 hours of longevity with Dylan Blue, and it projects very nicely for around 3 to 4 hours without a problem, around like 6 feet distance from me, and it definitely feels a nice scent bubble around me, and everyone can smell this one even hours and hours after first application of it. So yeah, it does perform very, very nicely. It definitely outperforms Bleu de Chanel when it comes to longevity and projection, and I would say it's about equal to Sauvage EDT. They're both about equal when it comes to the performance category. So no complaints at all when it comes to performance with Dylan Blue. So would I recommend Dylan Blue? I would 100% recommend you to absolutely get this fragrance if you're looking for a good blue, all occasion, all season, crowd pleasing fragrance that will pull so many compliments, because for the price you can get this one, it's 100% worth it, guys. I would even recommend this over Sauvage and Bleu de Chanel and YSL EDP. Just because of the price value you can pick this up for. It's just so worth it, guys. I'm honestly surprised that Versace never came out with like an eau de parfum or a parfum or even an elixir like the new trend is now. I'm actually shocked because this is probably, I don't know if it's actually their most popular within the collection. That might actually go to Eros. But for me, guys, I actually think Dylan Blue might be my favorite one. Even though like the Dreamer is the most sentimental to me when it comes to Versace fragrances, but for scent profile, I think Dylan Blue is absolutely the best, and I do own quite a few. I own the Dreamer, I own Eros EDT, obviously Dylan Blue, and Blue Jeans. And Dylan Blue is my favorite amongst all those Versace fragrances. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much gonna wrap up my review of Versace Dylan Blue. Let me know down below if you've actually owned this one, if you've tried it, if you're thinking about trying it. Let me know your thoughts per usual. I'd love to hear it. But besides that, guys, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you guys haven't already, and I'll catch all you guys in the next upload. Take care, everybody.